right? Like the money made this week, it's just gonna be so much better. Too much volatility not to make some money. All you have to do is use your brain. Okay, all you got to do is use your brain. The last time we went live was on. The last time we went live was Wednesday and then Sunday, and those two live streams were just phenomenal. Okay, everything we talked about ended up making a lot of sense. Ended up playing out. So we're gonna look at a few plays from this live stream. I don't plan on being live for too long today, just because it is. I think just because it is like a news right now. Coming into this week, we do have a lot of news that could transform like Monday, right? Like they're blocking the Strait of Hormuz, or however you say it, in Iran. So I want to see how that plays out. They said it starts at like 10 Eastern or something. Will it be short the market? Will it be, we'll see. We'll see. Okay? We'll see. We'll see. But no matter what, there'll be amazing plays inside the market regardless. We caught some last week. We got some absolutely amazing plays last week. Um, so let's just continue. Let's just continue that. You don't want to be overly bullish heading into this week. You don't want to be overly bearish heading into the week anyways. But if we're talking about, the bigger picture, if we're talking about a month or two from now, you best believe the market is going to end up going to all-time highs and above. Okay, we have an absolute boom coming. Okay, the only thing that's holding us back right now, not even holding us back, really, I think is jet fuel, is the Iran situation. Now I don't know what the deal is going to be. I don't know the parameters, but what I do know is that the market is going to end up going to all-time highs. Okay, it just is. Um, Right now, we have a lot of people still inside of puts. I think this should actually spike to the upside coming into next week because of there's no deal or whatever. And then you have this sitting at 38, which isn't even that bad. But anyways, the main thing that I'm coming into this week paying attention to is the fact that we want to stay above 605 on the Qs. Okay. Now, what I am seeing is actually hidden bear divergence where we're making higher highs like you see right here, or we're making lower highs, and this is making a higher high, which is hidden bearish divergence. But we need to stay above 605. That is the level that the Qs needs to hold above and even consolidate above and continue to remain above for us to start retesting all-time highs, which is 636. And really, I have price targets for us to go into 685 and even 760, which is a price target we'll talk about after we get to 684. But I think that's how high the Qs can go. I think we're really in a boom type of market. What is playing out right now is just the you could make some money on some puts, and you could make some like it's the extra added volatility which we need inside the market. Okay, so it's very important. It's important, and there's plays to be caught both ways. Okay, so I really want to look at some individual stocks. Like I said, I don't plan on being live for too long tonight. I really don't, because we have like I said, all the news. And are they gonna hold it accountable? Like we gotta see. We have to see. Kind of like what happened last week when I said, yeah, the peace deal really isn't even, you know, gone through yet, right? Peace deal hasn't really even gone through yet. But put in the comments what stocks you guys want to look at. Last week was one of my worst weeks ever. Puts, calls. Hey man, you gotta. I'm sorry, it was your worst. That sucks, man. That sucks. Um, but you got to make sure you get into the right place, and you got to make sure. Like I always tell people, man, like we're making a lot of money in WOM, but it's easy to make the money. It's harder to keep the money. A lot of people want to, when they make some money, they want to start sizing up on some of their positions. Really, I would say you got to start sizing down. Okay, you got to start taking more risk precaution. Let's look at my boy. My boy said AAOI. AAOI has been a stock that we made a whole lot of money on a couple weeks ago. A couple weeks ago. But this is a stock that has gone absolutely crazy. They actually got a short report from Citron or something like that. But I think this thing is already gone in my opinion. I wouldn't really even be paying too much attention to it until you can actually get some sort of reset on the price. Okay, now this stock is in price discovery, I would say, or people are paying more attention to the stock. It's no longer undercover type of stock now. It's over 11 billion. So I do think it goes higher, maybe to 200 plus. But with the news that is coming out for it, you kind of want to be like like I can't even explain it. because it's something that if you're in the market, like you know when something comes out with some news, like now you got to wait for all the dummies to get out, and you know all the for price to consolidate, or maybe even go lower, but it can't really even go that much lower because you know of the short report that came out. You know we can't let those people cook. You know, so this for me right now, if you miss this entire move from you know $80 until 150, to me this is just it's you know it's just it is now the majority of person knows about it now. The majority of money to me has been made. Um, now we'll probably get some consolidation or some chops. So I'm just not interested in this stock right now because it had such an insane move for the past 10 days. Okay, like what were we doing when this was $80 and then going to 150? You know, like the money should have been made right there. Now there's better plays in the market. Okay, like Netflix, like Marvel. My boy Cam is in here. Like Tesla. Let's look at Netflix. I want to look at Netflix because Netflix has actually been a very quiet mover, and it actually looks like it's ready to continue its move to the upside. Okay, um, yeah. Now it's holding above $179. As long as it can continue to hold above there, you have it. You know, moving up to 106. Okay, so I like Netflix. Although you know, I wish I would have got a better entry on it. You know, like some of this stuff matters. Okay, like the risk to reward now on something like Netflix, if you weren't buying over here, you know, maybe even a couple of those days. So these are the price targets I'm looking at. It even has earnings in 4 days, so I'm not even really interested in talking about it. Okay, you think tomorrow it's a put since no deal with Iran? That's what I'm saying. Okay, you have to use your brain. Okay, now tomorrow might be a put day. You know what I'm saying? It might be a put day, but you have to realize that is the average person thinking, okay? And it matters when you get the put, okay? We could come in tomorrow. There's probably a bunch of people that come in tomorrow. They're trying to get puts as soon as the market opens, and they may win for a little bit. They may win for a little bit. There may be a bear trap to start the day, and then all of a sudden you get that rip because you know the average person is trying to get puts, and as we're going up, they're trying to get puts because there's no deal. So there's you kind of gotta play that. If you didn't swing puts into Monday, I would kind of look to see how the day goes and remember what is weak heading into this week, right? Like we know software is weak, right? We caught some crowd puts, the weekly 390s. These ended up going over 2,000%. Okay, like we got them at $130 per. These ended up over like 3,000 on the next day. Okay, so you could put $100 in and made 3,000. You could have put $1,000 in and made 30,000. So you have to remember what is weak heading into this week, and it's still software in my opinion. It's still a lot of these software companies. So nobody's gonna tell you Shopify, but Shopify, literally, if you look at Shopify and you look at some of where these software stocks are, I'm gonna just put this out here, and then we'll look at a few other stocks. If the market is bearish, if software is bearish, this is where the highest potential gains can be made if and you not be chasing. You understand? So if you're chasing something, it looks like you getting into Microsoft, right? Microsoft is already at its April lows. It could go a little bit lower or just consolidate right here. CrowdStrike is almost at its April lows, or no, it's almost at its April lows. It already hit it at around 345. Like that's where a lot of these software companies are going. Like IGV, right? This thing is below its April lows, which if you guys remember, that is when the tariffs were happening and software is getting sold off so much to where it's at its April lows. You come over here and look at Shopify, okay? And we know, like I'll explain in a minute, but Shopify is nowhere near its April lows. Okay, this April lows is at $70, so this has a lot of room to continue to go to the downside, and it just looks like it's starting right now. You're about to get a slip and slide. Okay, so if you want to be bearish, and I'm just telling you this because it matters what you're bearish in. You don't want to, like, if you want to get puts tomorrow, if you want to get puts tomorrow and you want to be bearish, you don't want to mess with the strong sectors. Okay, you don't want to mess with like Amazon or like a Google or something. You don't really want to mess with those. If we're bearish heading into tomorrow, you want to focus on the stocks that are already weak because they're going to give you that weaker dip, that weaker move. and we're looking at Shopify, we know AI is literally going to transform the entirety of software, and especially something like Shopify where I can go make a website on Claude, right, and have a payment. You understand? So this being up here doesn't make any sense, and it still has a lot of room to go to the downside, considering that a lot of these software companies are already at their April lows, and Shopify is kind of lagging. I hope that makes sense for a lot of guys. Like even CRM, right? CRM April lows was right here, and it's way down here now. Okay, like this thing dropped tremendously. So when we're looking at Shopify, you know, I just think Shopify has a lot of room to go to the downside. If you guys remember, we talked about Adobe. Okay, we talked about Adobe. Like I said, Adobe was like a $50 stock. It's a single digit type of stock back when this was 400 plus. Nobody wanted to believe me, and now you're gonna end up seeing that. Yeah, this stock is gonna end up being garbage just because it's so easily replicatable. I don't even know if that's a word. Same with Duolingo. Okay, Duolingo's trading 400, 300 plus, and I was telling you this is going to be a single digit stock. Okay, do not buy. Um, so yeah, we're seeing that out. But anyways, let's look at some different stock. That's why I'm talking about Shopify, because I think Shopify can be a really good short if you're bearish. Okay, now should you be bearish coming into this week? You know, I kind of got to see how price opens. You know, I want to see some things, right? I want to see some things, but um, you know, we talked on Wednesday. We talked on Wednesday, and you know, if you missed the bull move to the upside, like, could we come down and retrace this full bull move? I don't know. Like, I don't know. I think it's possible. I hope so because there's a lot of volatility that, like, you know, I like making money, and money is made the most in a lot of these volatile situations. Um, but anyways, let's move on. Put in the comments what stocks you guys want to look at, and we shall look. Val looking ready to full giver. Yeah, it's looking ready. Energy, yeah, it's looking ready. Let's look at Tesla. You want to look at Tesla? We'll take a look at Tesla. Tesla, I would not buy. Like I said on Wednesday, the plan has not changed. Although it did have a nice Thursday and Friday, it did have, you know, it moved up a little bit. I still wouldn't really be looking at this until it can get to 621. The reason being is because that'll put it in a weekly hidden bull divergence, which we've never seen. Like, I don't think it's ever. I'm not gonna say ever, but we haven't seen that that weekly hidden bull divergence this entire situation that you have right here. And that's why the market is like, I think the market is going to expand so much. I think we have so much room on the Qs to go to 700 plus. It's sitting at 611 right now, maybe even 605 when the market opens. We'll see. But I would wait for 621. That is the major buying area. That's from the swing low to the swing high. Um, I'd be looking for a bounce at 620 or 321. And the thing you like, this is like all you have to do is use your brain in this market, okay? That's all you have to do. Use your brain. And when you think about Tesla, you know the average Joe, okay? Now people watching this, and we're not really, well, I don't know, but if you think about the average Joe, and you think about, what stocks are doing right now, like we see Amazon going crazy, we see Meta going crazy, we see Nvidia going crazy, we see, all these stocks going crazy. So you're like, why is Tesla not going crazy? Why is Tesla not going crazy? I'm gonna get Tesla calls because it should it should go crazy with these other stocks, and boom, it ends up going down. So that's the thinking on something like Tesla right now is that why is it not going up? It should be going up, or it's a discount. It's a discount considering what Amazon is doing, right? Or same with Microsoft. Like Microsoft's a discount because of what the majority of the market is doing. So these are actually easy short opportunities when they do spike up even the slightest bit of amount, because people are looking for that. They're looking for this to I don't know if that makes sense for you guys, but that is why Tesla, to me, I think gets to 321 before it gets really any type of good bid on it that could possibly reverse it. And I do think Tesla can get to 500, but it's gonna play around, and it has earnings in 10 days. Okay, it has earnings in 10 days as well. So SpaceX has IPO coming up soon. Exactly, it does. It does have earnings. Um, All this looks like lines on chalkboard to me. It is for the most part. I mean, when you think about it, like TA is like I always tell people this. TA is like 10 to 20% of actually being in the market. That's why like it's 10 to 20%. Like most of this stuff is like it's most of this stuff is psychology and actually using your brain. Okay, that's I just want to emphasize that it's using your brain. Okay, it's using your brain for the most part. If you know the majority of people coming into Monday are going to be bearish, right? Because of there's no deal. It could be bearish for a little bit, right? You know on spikes, you know when the market starts going up, people are going to try to be shorting it because you know. So like it's using your brain a little bit, but yeah, most of this stuff. And that's why people who anyway, I'm not gonna talk about it. I'm not gonna talk about it. I'm not gonna talk about it. I just want to look at some stocks. Um, and make some money this week. Okay, that's the important part. Okay, that's the important part, right? Because we had a great last week. We had a great last week. Crowd puts Anthropic. I hope Anthropic continues to kill the game. I want to get into some more crowd puts. I want to get into some more Shopify puts. Right? How do you find best sources for picking stocks for a trading session? You kind of just have a watch list. Okay, you kind of just got to have a watch list, and that's why I come on here and we give plays, etc. But you kind of want to have a watch list that you're looking at, and you kind of got to know like is the market bearish or bullish for the day? What stocks? What's like we know Anthropic, like we know Amazon went so crazy because Anthropic owns 20% of it. Or no, Amazon owns 20% of Anthropic. So when all that software news was going crazy, you then you understand? Like, I don't like explaining it because that should make enough sense. I don't have to say too much. That should make enough sense. Like Amazon owns 20% of Anthropic. Anthropic is killing all the software stocks. So obviously Amazon should start catching a lot of bids because they own 20% of the company, killing all the other companies. I don't know. It just makes sense to me, and that's why Amazon had a huge rip. But same with like Google. Like Google owns a lot of it. But should I drop some money on Bitcoin? I think crypto has a very like what we're seeing with oil. Okay, and this is just a thesis that I have. Like oil euphoria is happening in front of our eyes. Okay, this is oil euphoria. We already had gold euphoria, gold and silver euphoria. If you're still buying gold and silver and thinking it's going to end up going to all time highs, I think you're going to be very wrong. Okay, um, silver, same thing. So we had the gold boys get paid. We have the oil boys getting paid. We've been had the Nasdaq and stock market people getting paid. The next people to get paid, the next people in line, are the crypto boys. Okay, so I think crypto does have a huge move loading to the upside. Now, when does that take place? Maybe 2 to 3 months from now. Maybe a month or two from now. I don't know, but buying right here makes sense because I think it's going to be higher in the next 2 to 3 months. I think it's going to be pretty quick, especially when we look at Ethereum. Okay, so a lot of this stuff is aligning, and you're able to be early. Okay, you don't want to be a late thinker in a lot of these things. Okay, you don't want to be a late bird. You kind of, if you want to make the most, if you want to maximize your returns, you don't want to be late, or you want to kind of be early, or maybe even almost in the middle, like before the middle. um, but yeah, and of course it's speculation. Okay, all of this is speculation, but somehow speculation be paying. Speculation pays. Okay, speculation pays, and we've seen that. Okay, we've seen that time and time again, time and time and time and time and time again. Credo. So Microsoft cooked. I don't think Microsoft is cooked. Okay, I just think the narrative right now is software dying, but that's not really true. Okay, like we have Anthropic actually partnering with CrowdStrike. They're partnering with Microsoft. They're partners. Um, so I don't think they're all dying, and they all kind of own a piece of the Anthropic anyway. So I just think that that's just the narrative. Okay, that's the narrative, but that narrative will die soon. Um, I like it. I was looking at this way back when. I'm mad I didn't buy it because it looks like literally all it did was go up. I don't know what they do. $22 million market cap, $22 billion market cap. It's been one. Let me see. We can look at price targets for it, but like I said, it's at a rejection zone. So if it can start breaking out of here, the next target that you have is 135. But this is where you get a lot of the rejections, and it kind of even is hidden bear diverging. Okay, so that means we're actually making a lower high, but this is making a higher high. Um, Hidden bearish divergence. So I'd wait for it to start trading and even having a daily close above 121 because then you're gonna start getting pushes to 135, etc. Okay, but right here, and this is why it's so important, okay? Like a lot of people want to get calls when the market's going crazy, and they're scared to get calls when the market is in the dumps, and they're scared to get puts when at resistances, and they get puts at the bottoms, and so this thing just made a 80. This thing just made a $40 move in 2 weeks, not even. So I like the rejection for a little bit. Maybe you could look at calls at maybe 115, 16 maybe. Um, but yeah, overall this looks bullish. I mean, the overall market. What you have to realize, the overall market is raging bullish. Okay, so you don't want to be bearish for that long. You actually want to be looking for good dips. That's the main thing. Okay, so that's how we're gonna end the live. We didn't look at that many stocks. I'm very excited for PLTR coming into this week because it has that Donald Trump shield, okay, and you're getting maximum software FUD and bearishness going on. So I'm anticipating some sort of heated rally, like some sort of big rally that could potentially be playing out soon. I don't know when, but there's a squeeze that is going to end up happening to some of these software companies to the upside, and I think it's going to end up being very profitable. So I'm paying attention to that. I think PLTR is one that definitely has that ability to have, and it's even sitting in a nasty buying area that it actually wicked from last week. So this one looks incredible. Other than that, we know the market's raging bullish. Okay, don't for a second turn your mind to be max bearish. Don't be a perma bear right now. Do not do it. Do not do it. Do not do it. If you see a good dip, you want to make sure you get that good dip, and we'll talk about some of these good dips. Okay, like I'm waiting for MU to give me a nice dip. Made so much money on this MU squeeze that we had at 621 all the way to up here to set 376. Okay, this is over a $60 move in the span of like a day or two. Okay, MU is a $1 trillion stock. Okay, but right now, as it sits, it is in a victim level, meaning if you're buying right here after we just squeezed $120, you are a victim, sir. You're a victim. You're a victim. So I'm expecting maybe a retracement down to 390 or something. Okay, so that's what you have to understand. Like, anyways. Netflix new all-time highs. I think Netflix can get some new all-time highs. Path must have had some crazy news after hours. They are they up? Because I'm starting to see a lot of news for Path for some reason. I know they make a lot of AI agents, and that's bullish, but so does Anthropic, and I want to see what maybe they did a partnership. I don't know. I'm not interested in APLD. The buying area, like I have for APLD, is down to $16. Okay. If you guys remember, I was literally saying this was victim level way back up here in January and February. It was victim level, okay? Meaning if you're buying right here, you are a victim. And I've had the same chart drawn out, for some time now. So I'm going to stick with what it is. It's $16. And I was actually buying this at $9, $10 inside of the Discord. Some of you guys know we bought some of this. So yeah. I'd be waiting for $16. I think that's a better buy if you're looking to get into it. But it's just not what it was anymore, okay? Once a lot of people find out about these stocks, and this is why you got to stay in the know. You have to stay in the know. Okay, if you're not in the know, if you lack for just a little bit, especially it's mainly on these smaller caps or stocks that are new that are up and coming this cycle, you're gonna end up getting left behind and continuing to trade these garbage like these are one hitter quitters. You get in, you get out, you trade them for a couple, maybe a month or a weeks or so, and then when the volatility dies down, when people start figuring it out, finding out about it, you want to leave. Kind of like iron, okay? A lot of people want to look at iron, and they think iron gonna go crazy, but iron has been sitting here consolidating. It hasn't, like it's not doing this. It's not doing this, okay? It's not giving you these large moves. This was the last large move that I had. After that, boom, nasty work. All right, I would say NBIS if you still wanna. NBIS is still a good one in my opinion. Still volatile, still moving a whole lot. Have a lot of deals. Um, but anyways, I'll talk to you guys later, man. This is an amazing live stream. If you want anything from me, join the Discord. Okay, we have some amazing plays coming in this week. Some amazing plays. We got into Google calls. What is this, Monday or Tuesday for 47. These ended up going absolutely crazy. Crowd look, man, a lot of great plays inside the Discord. Um, but anyways, I will talk to you guys on Wednesday. You guys know these are the most accurate live streams. Okay, so if I'm not really looking at anything, or I'm taking it slow, I'm taking it easy. That means there's not an obvious, like it's not obvious yet. Okay, it'll be obvious. We know the obvious move is to the upside. Like we know we're going crazy, but when's the dip? When do we buy the dip? All right. I'll talk to you guys later, man. SMCI is definitely really going. You guys have a great rest of your night. We only had 2K likes, and I continue to go. I'll talk to you guys later. I'm out. Peace.